Hi, good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
How are
sir.
you, sir?
Okay, I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, fine, sir. Thank you.
Great. So I hope screen is visible too, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So today, basically, we are just going to see the data type concept. Okay, what exactly the data type do we have? If suppose we import any data, then what kind of a data type will be assigned to particular column? Okay. Now, so if I talk about this data type, so for an example, suppose if any data which is written into completely text, okay, completely text means that the data which you have written contains the alphabets between A to Z. Okay, for an example, suppose here the name has been written. Okay, so name like I say Anu, Mukesh, Rohit. Suppose this name has been written, which contains purely the alphabets. Okay, there is no number. Okay, there is no number. There is only purely the alphabets only. So if you have any column which contains purely the text values, so that column will be assigned as a text data type. Okay, so this will be assigned as text data type. Okay, so it means if any column has the value which contains purely the alphabets value between A to Z, so that column will have the data type as a text data type. Now, the second case can be that suppose if the column which I have contains the alphanumeric values. Okay. So what is the mean by this alphanumeric values? So alphanumeric values means alpha means the alphabet, numeric means the numeric values. It means the data which we have contains the text plus numeric, both the values. So that kind of a data is known as a alphanumeric values. Okay, so for an example, if I say, so your PAN card, right? So PAN card contains the text values also, the numeric values also, right? Like for an example, ABC123 XYZ, right? It might be that RQW 542 TWS, right? So these kind of a data which contains the numeric values plus the text values. So that kind of a data is known as a alphanumeric data. But what kind of a data type will be assigned to alphanumeric data? So the same as well. So if you have the alphanumeric data, so this will be assigned as a text data type also. So it means if you have a column which contains either the purely alphabets or the alphanumeric values, both will have the same data type as a text data type only. Okay. Now, the third one is basically the numeric data type. Okay. So numeric data type means if any column which contains the purely numeric values between 0 to 9, so that kind of a column will be assigned as a numeric data type. So for an example, I say like the employee ID column, okay, or a salary column. So suppose the employee ID is 1001, 1002, 1003. So employee ID column has purely the numeric values. There is no text values, right? So these kind of a data is going to assign as a data type with a numeric data type, right? So this will be assigned as numeric data type. Okay, this one. Now suppose if I say if you have the alphanumeric data. So alphanumeric data, it can be the combination of your alphabets and numeric values. And it also can be the combination of your special characters too. Okay. So if the special character come into the picture, special character means like the at the rate, space, comma, less than, greater than, dollar sign, percentage, ampersand, hyphen, underscore, slash, all these are nothing but known as a special character. So these special characters will also be treated as a text data type. Okay. So for an example, suppose if you have the data, like I say the email ID. Okay. And the email ID I say here, I have the email ID like CoachX live.com. Okay. Here the ID is Mukesh at the rate CoachX live.com. Right. And same we have the Rohit CoachX live.com. Okay. Now I have these three data set. So now here you can see in these three records, you are able to see the @ sign and the dot sign also, correct? So dot sign and @ sign, these are nothing but known as a special character, right? And rest of the things like here you can see the alphabets, which is purely your alphabets. It means the email ID here, which I have written, it is into the combination of your purely alphabets and special characters, right? So this kind of a data will also be assigned as a text data type. Okay. It means if you have written the completely text or alphanumeric or special character, so all will have the same data type as a text data type. But in any of the column which contains purely the numeric values between 0 to 9, so that kind of a column will be assigned as a numeric data type. Now, it can be that one of the column which contains the date values. Okay, date values. For example, the date of joining. So like here, if I say the date of joining is 3rd December 2000. Okay, then I say the 4th November 1980, something like this. So the column which contains as a date, okay, the column which contains the date. So these kind of a column is going to assign as a date data type. Okay, so this will assign as date data type. Okay, so here you can see if you have a column which contains purely the date, so that kind of a column is going to assign as a date data type over here. Okay, so we have these kind of a data type into this Power BI, and the data, for example, the numeric, if I'm talking about, so here you can see the purely numeric values, okay, which is into the whole number. It also can be into the decimal, okay, but if the value is also into the decimal, so that will also be the part of the numeric values. Okay, always remember that will also be the part of the numeric values as well. So once you will import the data, so you will be able to see these kind of data types, which is automatically get assigned. And if you want to change the data type of any column, so you can also change the data type of any column into the Power BI itself. But Power BI automatically will detect the data type on the basis of your data which is entered into that particular column. So Power BI automatically will assign the data type on the basis of values. But after the import, you can also change the data type if that is required, if you think so. Okay, so these kind of a data type we have into this Power BI. It is clear to everyone? Okay. Now we are just going to import the data. Okay, so we have the data into Excel, which we are going to import into this Power BI. So what we will do? Yeah, any question, anyone? Okay. Now we are just going to import the data from the Excel. So we can click on this Excel workbook. Once you will click on this Excel workbook, now you have to select that Excel file from where you want to import the data. So this is the file, Power BI data file, through which I just want to import the data. So I have selected this one and now click on OK. So once you will click on OK, so now it is importing the data and it is loading the data into this data model. Okay, so now here you can see, okay, as in the last session I have told you the number which is written within this square bracket, this is basically the number of sheets count which we have into this Excel file. You can see we have 3 sheets over here. So now you can see the number of sheets as a 3, which is demonstrated or which is written or mentioned into within this square bracket. So I just want to import the data of these orders. So I will simply click on these orders and I will just click on a load. Okay. Once you will click on a load, now the data is going to load into this data model now. Okay. Once it will load successfully, so you will be able to see all the fields into this right hand section. Now you can see it is about to get expand, and now you will be able to see the data set which you have imported, that is your orders data set. And within this order data set, what's the column you have, you will be able to see all the columns over here. Okay. Now, so let it load. So I will show you. Okay. Now, one more important thing, the column which contains the date data type, it will also show the hierarchy. Okay, always remember. Now, for an example, suppose the data which you have imported contains this date of joining. Okay, so now you will be able to see the data in Power BI like this way. You will be able to see the calendar icon. I'm writing over here. Okay, you will be able to see the calendar icon over here, and then the name of the column like the date of joining. And here before this calendar icon, you will be able to see this arrow icon, which through which you can go for this hierarchy level. Okay, once you will open this hierarchy, once you will expand this one, so you will be able to see the date hierarchy. Okay, and now within this date hierarchy, you will be able to see the checkbox. Here you will be able to see the checkbox, and now here it will be written as a year. Then you will be able to see the checkbox which shows the quarter. Again, you will be able to see the checkbox over here, where you will be able to see the month. And again, you will be able to see the checkbox over here, which says the days, right? Because the date contains these hierarchy, right? The years, quarter, month, and days, correct? When the day is going to club, it is going to convert into month. Once the month will combine together, it will convert into the quarter. And once the quarter will combine together, then it will convert into the year only, right? So this is basically the hierarchy of any of the date. So now here you can see I have imported the data successfully in this Power BI desktop. And now you can see the orders data has been imported successfully. If you hover the cursor, so you are able to see the name as the orders, which is nothing but the name of your data set. Storage mode is basically the import. We have imported this data. The data refreshed, the date time stamps, you are able to see the today's date and the time when we have imported this data set now. Now here you can see, once we are just going to expand this one. So here you are able to see all the columns which you have into this orders data set. Now, if you see, so before some of the column, you are not able to see any kind of a icon or any kind of a sign over here, right? Like for an example, for the discount, you are able to see the summation sign. For the postal code, you are able to see the summation sign. And for the profit, quantity, row ID, and sales, correct? And for the shipping cost also, right? But for the category, city, country ID, customer name, you are not able to see any kind of a sign over here. So in Power BI desktop, if before the column name or before the column header, if you are not able to see any kind of a sign, it means that column contains the text data type. Okay, it means in this category column, the data which is filled, so that is the text data type. Okay, so that is basically, or you can say the string data type. But in this discount, where you are able to see the summation sign, okay, so this is nothing but contains the numeric data type. It means in this discount column, postal code column, profit column, quantity column, in all these columns, the value which is entered, so that is purely the numeric values which is entered over here. And now where you are able to see this calendar icon, like for this order date and for the ship date. So it means in this column, order date and the ship date, in these two columns, the data which is entered is date only, right? And for the date, as I have told to you, that you will be able to see this arrow icon over here, which is nothing but is going to show you the hierarchy level. So once you will click on any of the date, like in order date you have clicked, so you are able to see the date hierarchy, right? Which I have told to you that once you will expand, you will be able to see the date hierarchy. Now, if you expand this date hierarchy, so here you are able to see year, quarter, month, and day, right? And the check boxes, which I have told to you, you will be able to see the check boxes for the year, for the quarter, for the month, and for the days, right? So now automatically the hierarchy has been created that if you want to use the entire date over here, you can also use, but Power BI also have given the option to you that you do not want to show the entire date from the date, you want to show the year only or the quarter only or the month only or the day only. So all the things are segregated automatically. You do not need to create the different columns to capture the year, quarter, month or day from any of the date, right? Like in the Excel, if I say, suppose if you have this order data, and I say, I just want to show my data in the year, quarter, month, and day. So what you will do, you will create some additional column where you will use the Excel function to calculate the year, quarter, month, and day. But in Power BI desktop, you can see automatically the date hierarchy has been created over here and you can utilize that. Now, the data which you have imported, so if you want to see the data, so go into this data section and now you will be able to see the data which is imported successfully over here. Now at the bottom, you will be able to see the table which you have selected. The table is orders table, and in the bracket or a parenthesis, you are able to see the 51,290 rows. Okay, so this orders data contains the 51,290 rows over here. Okay. Now, so what kind of a data do we have? So you can see these kind of a data we have, and here you are able to see the column name over here, and you are able to see the all the values which are entered into that particular column also. Okay. Now, here, if I have imported this data, and now if I just want to perform the some kind of a transformation over here. Okay, so what is the mean by this transformation? So the mean of the transformation is, suppose if you have imported any data and now you want to perform some kind of a data cleansing concept to refine your data before preparing any kind of a visualization. Okay, so that is nothing but that is known as a transformation. Okay, so now if you want to perform any kind of a transformation, because this Power BI desktop work on the ETL activities. ETL means E is stands for, let me show you. Okay. So now here, this is related to the ETL activity. So what is the ETL? ETL means E is stands for extract, T is stands for transformation, and L is stands for loading. Okay, it means if you have extracted means that you have imported the data into Power BI desktop, like from the Excel, I have imported this one. So it means the E operation I have completed. It means the data which I just need to import into Power BI. So I have extracted the data from the data source. Now the transformation. So transformation means if any kind of a data cleansing is required to refine your data or to prepare your data for the visualization. So it means that some kind of a transformation is required. So for that kind of a transformation, you can perform this transformation activities or transformation features, which is given into Power BI desktop. Once everything is completed into the transformation, then you load the data into data model. Load the data means whatever the transformation you have done, so that transformation now you are going to save it. So now once you are just going to save this transformation which you have performed, so it means you are going to load your data into data model. But the question is that if I just want to perform this transformation, then where should I go into my Power BI desktop? So here, if you want to perform any kind of a transformation, so you are able to see this transform data wizard. Okay, so just click on this and here you can see the transform data. Once you will click on this transform data, it is going to open a new wizard, which is nothing but known as a Power Query Editor window. At the backend side, you are able to see the Power BI desktop, and this wizard you are able to see the Power Query Editor over here. Now in this Power Query Editor, in the left hand side, you will be able to see the queries. Okay, the queries is nothing but which shows the data which you have imported through a query. So now you can see when I have imported this data through this Excel workbook, so on the function, formula bar or the function bar, you are able to see that what kind of a query has been written over here to import the data. And you can see the data type which is automatically assigned over here. Okay, so we will see that. So you can see automatically it will go for this one. Okay, now, so here in the left hand side, you will be able to see all the queries. That is nothing but the data set which you have imported through your which you have imported through these queries, or if you have performed any transformation queries, so you will be able to see into this queries section in the left hand side. In this mid section, you will be able to see the output which is generated through that queries. Like for an example, as of now, I have this orders queries over here. So I have selected this orders queries, and through this order queries, you are able to see that what kind of data is generated through this order queries. You are able to see this into mid section. And if you scroll it right, you will be able to see all the data set over here. Correct? Now, here in the right hand side, you are able to see this query setting option. In this query setting, you are able to see the name of your data set or name of your queries which you have selected. So that is the orders queries over here. If you want to rename it, you can also rename it. Okay. Now, one of the most important thing, that is the applied steps. So what is the applied steps? So applied steps means whatever the steps or the activity you are going to perform into this Power Query Editor window, each and every activity is going to store into this applied step section. Like here, when I have imported this data, so my first step was source, right? What was the source? So source was nothing, but I have connected with this file, with this Power BI data.xlsx. Now, after that, what steps has been performed? It has performed into navigation. And now you can see this data has been imported at the backend. Now, after that, what is done? Promoted headers, right? If I click on this promoted headers, so now you can see, you are able to see that headers is on the top. You are able to see the row ID, orders ID, and this. But as of now, you are able to see the ABC123, ABC123 before each and every column name, right? So it means this is a default data type has been assigned. But now if I click on this change type into this applied steps, now you are able to see the order date is showing this calendar icon. This order ID is showing the ABC icon, row ID is showing the 1, 2, 3 icon. And if I scroll it right side, in the discount, you are able to see the 1.2. In profit, you are able to see the 1.2. So what does it mean? So it means when I have imported this data, it connected with my file, automatically it converted into these headers, and whatever the data type needs to be assigned as per my values, which is entered into this column. So automatically the data type has been changed as well. So if you are able to see the 1, 2, 3, this 1, 2, 3 is basically represent the whole number numeric data type. It means in this row ID, only the purely the numeric values has been used. There is no decimal value. If you click on this 1, 2, 3, so now here you can see for the 1, 2, 3 means the whole number, correct? And now if you click on this order, so if before this order ID, you are able to see the ABC. ABC means the text data type or a string data type. If you click on a ABC, so now you can see ABC means the text data type over here. Here in this order date, you are able to see this calendar icon. Once you will click on this calendar icon, it means the date data type has been assigned. You can see the date data type has been assigned now. Okay. If the column which contains the date plus time also, so it will assign the date and time, this one. Okay. Now, if I scroll it right, and now see those columns where the decimal values has been entered, like into sales, you are able to see the decimal, in discount, in profit, in shipping cost also. So this 1.2, nothing but the represent as a decimal. So if you click, so now you are able to see the 1.2 shows as a decimal number. Okay. So this is nothing but represent as a decimal number. So always remember this sign also, because in the interview, they can ask you that if in any of the column, if the 1.2 is written before the column name, so what it represents? So it represents that in that particular column, before that the 1.2 has been shown or demonstrated or captured. So in that column, the decimal values has been entered or decimal values has been placed. Okay. So now on the top, you are able to see what kind of a data type has been assigned over here. Okay. You can change the data type also. Okay. For an example, suppose if I say the shipping cost, which is written over here, it says the 1.2, which is nothing but the decimal. So if I want to convert into purely the numeric values or the whole number values, I will click on this 1.2 and I will click on this whole number. Once you will click on this whole number, it will ask for the confirmation that you just want to replace the current data type. Yes, I said. If I click on a replace current, so now you can see this 1, 2, 3 has been converted over here automatically. And now you are able to see the decimal places has been removed from here. Correct? Now this one. Now you can see there is no undo option over here. Okay. If I click Control Z, I'm not able to make any changes. Now again, suppose if I just want to convert into decimal, so what I will do, on click on a 1, 2, 3 and click on this decimal number and now click on a replace current. Once you click on a replace current, you are able to see that 1.2 has been mentioned over here and all the decimal values has been shown over here. Okay. Although you can also type it over here, like for an example, if you see at the last here, if I scroll it down, so just see this one, profit. Okay. Where the profit has been written, this profit, the type is number. You can see the type is basically the number for this profit, right? You can see for the discount, that is also the number data type. So once you'll click on the number, so all those columns are going to get highlight, or the values are going to get highlight where the number type is assigned. So number is nothing but the numeric values I'm just talking about. Okay. Now, if you will perform any kind of steps, okay, or a transformation, so that will automatically will add into your applied steps, which we will see. Okay. Now, here on the top in the left hand side, here you are able to see this close and apply and close. So it means when you have performed all the transformation into this Power Query Editor window, which is required as per your business requirement, and now you want to save all the transformation which you have performed, now you have to click on this apply. Once you will click on this apply, so all the changes are going to save into this Power Query Editor window. And now that data is going to load into your data model. Once you will click on this close, so now this window, this Power Query Editor window is going to close. If you click on a close and apply, so it means all the changes or a transformation which you have performed into your Power Query editor window. So those changes are going to save first, and then this window will close automatically. Okay. Now, the next one, the new source. So this new source is also given into this Power Query editor window. And this is nothing but the same thing which you are able to see as a get data into this Power BI desktop. Okay. So this is the same thing. So they have given the option over here for this new query. Now, if you want to import the data from any of the data source directly into your Power Query editor wizard, then you can click on this new source, and here you are able to see all those sources or the common data sources which you are able to see into your Power BI desktop as well. Okay. Now, here is the recent source. So recent source, you are also able to see into your Power BI desktop, you can say. So recent sources are nothing, but recent source basically represent if you want to import the data from the data source which you have already used. So if you have used already any of the data source, now you will be able to see it over here, and now you can use directly from here itself. Okay, you can directly use it from here itself. Okay, so this is nothing, but this is basically known as a recent data source. Okay. Now, enter data, you are able to see into your Power Query editor window also. And now you are also able to see into your Power BI desktop. So this is nothing but the same thing. So this enter data basically we use when we have to enter the data manually, or suppose if we just copy the data from any of the data source like the Excel or the SQL from any of the data source, and now we just want to paste it. So in that case, we can use this enter data also. So now suppose if I just click on this enter data, and now I'm just creating the column here. I say the country and then the sales. Okay. I say the country is India, sales is 1000, Australia 500, Japan 1200, Singapore 1422. Okay. And I say Africa is 980, something like that. Okay. Now here I have given this table name. I say country data. Now, once you'll click on OK, so now your data is going to load into your Power Query editor, but this country data you will not be able to see into your Power BI desktop because the data which I have loaded over here through the manual intervention, I have not clicked on this apply. Until you will not click on apply, so the changes which you have made into your Power BI into your Power Query editor window, those changes are not going to reflect into your Power BI desktop. Okay, so now you can see I have entered the data, the country and the sales, and here you can see in the right hand side the two steps has been generated. One is the source and second is the change type. Now just look carefully into source and change data type, that what are the difference into both of the steps. If I click on the source, so now you can see I have entered this data, the country and the sales, and for both is it has considered or assigned the data type as a text data type. Okay, you can see the ABC, but when I have saved this one, so now the value which I have entered into my sales column, Power BI automatically detected that the value which I have entered into sales column, all the values are numeric values, and the values which I have entered into country column, all the values are the text values. So automatically it has changed the data type for the sales from text to numeric, and for the country it kept as a text values, text data type only, you can see. For the sales, it has changed the 1, 2, 3 only, right? Now, if you have entered any data manually, or if you have copied from the any of the clipboard, then if I say I just want to change any value, or if I just want to perform any kind of a modification in that, then how you are going to perform? Okay. So for an example, if I say that you have this data and here I say I just want to change the sales for India from 1000 to 2000. So how you will make this one? So if you click on this 1000 and if you try to change it from here, you cannot change it. If you do the right click over here, here you can see you are not getting any option over here, right? So how you will perform this one? So what you will do, you have to go into this source. And in this source, you are able to see this setting icon or the gear icon. Once you will click on this setting icon or this gear icon, now the wizard is going to get open. This is create table wizard, the same wizard through which you have created this table, right? And here you can change this value from 1000 to 2000. Okay. If you want to add any record in the rows or in the columns, you can also go for this one. And now if you have done your changes, if you want to save it, now click on a OK. Once I will click on a OK, so now you can see it is loading the data over here and you are able to see that the value has been converted into 2000. You can see for this India, the sales is converted into 2000. Okay. So this is basically the concept that how do we create the enter data concept. Okay. Now suppose if you have the data in the Excel, okay, and now through the Excel, you do not want to connect your Excel directly with your Power BI desktop, but the data which you have into your Excel file, that data you want to copy and you want to paste it into your Power BI desktop. So for an example, suppose I say I have the country, or I say the employee ID, employee name, then I say employee salary, employee designation, and employee location. Okay, this one. So now the ID, suppose I have just given the 1001, name, Bonnie Potter, then the employee salary, suppose I have taken any random number. I am generating between 1900 to 5000. Designation, I say the MIS manager. Location, I say the India. Okay. Now, if I have selected this one, if I drag this one towards the downside, you can see the data set is generated successfully. And now I have copied this data. I just want to enter into Power BI. So I have simply copied this data along with this header, the simply Control C, and now go into your Power BI desktop. And now here, just click on this enter data. Okay. Now I just want to paste it. So what I will do, just click on this top left corner. So I have clicked on this top left corner and simply Control V. Now you can see I have pasted this entire data. And now whatever the name I just want to keep for this table, like I say the employee data. Now, once I will just click on OK, so now you will be able to see that this is generated over here now, right? Now you can see, and the data type is also assigned automatically over here, correct? So now this is basically the concept that if you want to copy the data, or if you want to paste the copied data into Power BI desktop, or if you want to enter data manually into your Power BI desktop, then you have to use this enter data activity over here as into the new query. Is it clear, everyone, till here? Or anyone has any doubt? Okay, great. Now, here is data source setting. Okay, so data source setting is basically, for an example, this orders data, okay, which I have imported, and now this is basically the data that is nothing but the file, okay, that is Power BI data.xlsx. Under that, there was a tab that is nothing but the orders tab, which I have imported. Now, suppose if Power BI data.xlsx is existing in this path today, But now tomorrow, suppose the path is going to get changed and now you have to change the path. So you can go for the data source setting and you can change the path from here. You can see the change source. You can click on a change source and now you can change the path from here. You can see the browse option. You can browse the path of your current path of your file. And now you can simply click on a OK. So data source setting, which basically contains that if you have given any kind of a permission or if the path has been changed, so how you are going to perform your data source activities. In that terms, you can perform this data source setting concept. Data source setting is also, for an example, this is the most important thing. For an example, suppose if I have created my dashboard where I have used this order data set, and now this order tab was existing into my which file? Into my this Power BI data.xlsx, right? But this is the data which I have imported. The file is storing or file is existing on my system. Okay. But now if I have shared this complete Power BI file with a client, and once the client will refresh, will the client will be able to see the changes? No. Why? Because the path of this file through which orders data has been imported, that file is existing into my system, not on the client system. So what you have to do, so in that case, okay, always remember, when the data which you have imported, that data source is existing onto your local system, and now if you have shared this Power BI file with someone else, then you have to ask to that person, I'm also sharing the data source Excel file with you, please change the path of your file into your Power BI file. Okay, so how you will change it? So simply you have to come into this Power Query Editor window, and now suppose I have to change the file path of this order. So simply you have to go into source, and on the source you will be able to see the path over here. So now this time the path which is showing for my system over here, now if you have saved the file into your system, now you have to replace this path which is basically for my system, and you have to replace with your system. Okay, so you have to go into source, and from the source you can change it. Okay, nothing else you have to perform, only you have to change this one, nothing else. That's it. Okay, and automatically once you will just click on a refresh, automatically it is going to connect from your system file path. Okay. Now here is basically the manage parameters. So I will come into this point later on. Now here you can see the refresh preview. So refresh preview means, for an example, if you have made any kind of a changes and now those changes you want to reflect over here, so in that case you can go for this refresh. So once you will click on this refresh, so if you have made any changes over here in this data set, now those changes are going to reflect it into your data set now. So for an example, if you have made any changes into this orders data, suppose if you have updated any values, you have deleted any record, you have added any record, you have added any column, deleted any column, whatever the data modifications you have done. So in that case, if those changes you want to reflect into your Power BI desktop, so in that case, you have to click on refresh. Once you will click on refresh, so those changes are going to reflect into your Power BI query editor window or into your data set only. Okay. Now here is the properties. Once you will click on a properties, the same wizard you will be able to see, which you are able to see in the right hand section for the properties. Okay, either you click on this all properties, you will be able to see the same wizard, or if you click on these properties, you will be able to see the same wizard. So whenever you just want to rename this data, or you want to make any kind of a description over here, you can use this properties. This enable load to report, it means if this box is changed, it means this enable to report and include in report refresh, it means you have included this one, and once you will click on a refresh, this activity will get performed. But suppose if I say, if I just click on this refresh, then this orders table should not get refreshed. So in that case, I can make as a disable over here. So in that case, this is not going to get refreshed once you will click on this refresh preview. Okay. Now here you can see this advanced editor. So this advanced editor is nothing, but that is the mQuery part. Okay. So if I click on this one, so now you can see, you are able to see this mQuery over here. So automatically it has generated over here what exactly the mQuery for these orders, which I have imported over here. So now you can see this is basically the Latin query, and that is the mQuery part. We will also see the some of the M queries in the upcoming session also, but here you can see this is the Latin. So you are able to see the source, and now you can see the Excel.workbook, then the file.contents, and from where I have imported this data. So this is nothing but automatically it has detected the data type also, you can see in the change. And if you observe one thing very closely, so you can see the first is basically the source, and you are able to see the source over here, right? And now after that, you are able to see the promoted headers, then the change type, which you are also able to see into your applied steps, right? Now,
Sir,
yes, please.
how to write this query full?
Yeah, so basically you can see in the same pattern, you can also write your query, which is automatically generated. And now if you want to write your query, so now the same thing. For example, if I just want to import the data, and now I say, I just want to change the path also. So now what I can do, simply I can just go for the queries, and for this new query, I can write my own query over here, or through this, the query which is generated, if you want to make any changes over here, you can also make the changes over here. Okay. Now, one more important thing I just want to show you. If I just go into source, so can you see in the source what is written? Excel.workbook file contents. Okay, let me copy this and just observe one thing. Okay, in the source, this query is written. Okay, and now this is something I'm just going to open from this advanced editor. If I open this from the advanced editor, can you see this one? Look, this is, I'm just copying from here from the advanced editor. Okay, and now I'm just gonna paste it over here. Look, can you see both are the same thing? Yes or no? Look, the above one is basically copied from the steps. The below one is copied from the advanced editor. Both the queries are the same. Yes or no? Look, correct? This one. So it means whatever the steps are shown into your Power Query editor window, so that is nothing but generated into this advanced editor. Same here, if you go into this promoted headers, okay. So let me go into promoted headers. In promoted headers, you can see what is the query? Table.promoted headers. For the order sheet, you can see the promote all scalar is true. Now, if I click on this advanced editor, and now here you see for the promoted headers, you are able to see the same query over here. Yes or no? Look, correct? Table.promoted headers, order sheet. Now you can see this one, right? And now for the change type, if I say, if I go into change type, now you can see I'm able to see this one into the change type, where for this promoted header step, now all the columns has been assigned the data type over here, right? And same, if I go into this advanced editor, so against this change type, the same query, I am able to see it over here. You can see the transform column types over here, right? This one. And now if you scroll it right, you can see for all the columns which you have seen into your change type steps as well. Correct. So now this is basically the concept of your M query. So if you want to make any kind of a changes, so there are multiple ways. Okay. Now, if I say I just want to change the file path, so you have the multiple options. Okay. So I have told you one option that you can go into source, and here you can change the path. This is the one thing. Second, you can also go into your advanced editor over here, And here you can change the path also, right? This one, correct? So from here, you can also change this one. Now you can see, for example, I say, this is my orders data. And now this time I just want to import the data of any other tab which is existing on the same file. Okay, like here, suppose we have the other sheet which contains the data like the people. So here I can replace this order with the people, right? And here, this is the same thing. Now in the change type, I just need to mention those columns which are existing into my people tab, right? And here you can see the display option. You can see the display line numbers. If you click on this one, you can see in the left hand side, you are able to see the line number also. Okay. Now, if you click on this render white space, so now you can see you are able to see the render white space where you are able to see the dotted, like before the source, before the order sheet, right? This one, correct? Now, here, if you see display mini map, so in the right hand side, you are able to see the mini map also. Okay. If you see enable world map, you can see, look, this is basically the world map is enabled. So if you click over here, you are also able to see the mini map also over here. Okay, this one. So this is something, if you want to add it, you can add it. If you want to remove it, you can remove it. The line numbers, obviously we use. The reason is that, okay, if you will not use, it doesn't make any kind of a difference. Okay, but this line numbers basically we use for an example, if you are showing this to someone, okay, and now suppose if your M query is containing the more lines, okay, like for an example, I say the 15 or a 20 lines, okay. Now, if you are showing to someone and now you are telling to someone that here you can see the table dot transform column type is used over here. So now the person will not be able to easily understand over here that for which line I'm just talking about, right? But if I say I'm adding this line number, and now if I say that in the row number 5, you can see the table transform column type. So it is easy to understand for the user that yes, I'm just talking about this line number 5 where the table transform column types is demonstrated over here, right? So in that pattern, the line numbers you can add. And here you are able to see that no syntax error have been detected. If there will be any kind of error, so you will be able to see it over here. Okay, like example, here you can see the comma, which I just need to suppose to give. I have removed it from here. So you can see the token comma expected. If I click on a show error, so now you can see in this line, I am able to see this error that before this order sheet, the comma should come. Correct. So here, if I just put this comma again, so now you can see no syntax error have been detected and you are able to see this checkbox. It means my M query is perfectly fine and it will execute and will give you the result. So there is no error at all. Correct. So this kind of a data. Now suppose from this order to here, if you have changed this one, so now it is not showing the error. Why? Because it might be that within this data, it might be there is an order, right? But once you will click on a done, and if it is not going to get this order sheet into this file, then automatically it will throw an error in that moment then. Okay. Now if I click on done, so now this is done now. And now here you are able to see this manage. Okay. So now if you click on this manage, so you will be able to see these three things. What is that? One is delete, duplicate, and reference. So what is the mean by delete? So simple, the delete means if you want to delete any of the queries, so you can click on this delete. Okay, this one. So once you will click on a delete, this query is going to get deleted. Duplicate means if I want to create a copy of any of the query, for example, the employee data which I have, I just want to create one more copy, and now I just want to rename it for an example like the Australia data or any like the EMP data one, something like that. So what I will do, I will select this EMP data first, then I will click on this manage and I will click on a duplicate. Once I will click on a duplicate, so you can see the one copy has been generated with the name of EMP data 2. If you want to rename it, you can do the right click and here you will be able to see the rename option and you can rename this. So like I say EMP data 1. Okay, this name I have given. So I have created one copy of this employee data to EMP data 1. Okay. Now, the another thing is that here you are able to see the reference. And in this reference means that I just want to create the copy of any query, but the generated query will be linked with my source query. It means if I just create the query of this EMP data using this reference, so one more query will get generated, but that query will directly impacted with this EMP data. It means if in this EMP data, I will make any changes, so automatically that changes will reflect into new generated queries. So if I click on this reference, now you can see the new query has been generated, right? So now do the right click on a rename, and I'm just giving the name as a ref. Okay, for your reference. So now you can see, so now this EMP data reference query is connected with this employee data query. Okay, if I will make any kind of a changes into my employee data, then it will reflect into my EMP data reference. So let me show you. In this EMP data, I am going to add the record. So I'm going to add one more record, 1012. Here I have written the Harry Peter. Okay. Now the salary I have entered like 1762, and I say this is business analyst. Okay. Now here I say the India. Now if I click on a OK, so you can see in this EMP data 1012 Harry Peter has been inserted. If I go into this data reference, so you can see the 1012 Harry Peter has been inserted as well. Correct? Because this EMP data ref is directly connected with my EMP data. So if I will make any kind of a changes into my this EMP data, so automatically that is going to reflect into this EMP data ref. Okay. Is it clear till here, everyone?
Yes, sir. But sir, it is possible only in the reference data, na?
Only in the reference, correct, not in the copy. You can see in the copy, it will not come.
Yes, sir. And second is, sir, in refresh preview, sir, if you change some data like your other table, then will be reflected to the other table.
No. The refresh preview, it means that the data which you have connected or imported directly with any of the data source, and now if any changes has been done into that data source and those changes you want to reflect, then in that case this refresh preview come into the picture. Because if I have entered any data manually over here, so immediately that is going to reflect now. Like here in EMP data, I have entered this 1012. So immediately it is showing yes or no. Correct. But if at the backend in the Excel file of these orders, if I make any changes into that, so in that case, immediately changes will not reflect over here. When those changes will get reflect, when you will click on this refresh preview. So this refresh preview is basically refresh the data through which you have connected your data set. It means in the data source, if you have made any changes, those data source are going to reflect, or those data sets changes are going to reflect into your Power BI desktop then. Is it clear? Any doubt? Anyone? Okay. Now, so here you can see this is created. Now in the interview, they can ask you that, can you please tell me that suppose if the three tables I have given you, this EMP data 1, EMP data reference. Okay. Can you please tell me that how I can identify that this table is created through the duplicate, this table is created through the reference table? Is there any way? So for the duplicate, there is no way, first of all. Like if I select this EMP data or EMP data 1, you will not be able to see any kind of a difference over here. So if you have created any copy of your data set, so you will not be able to make any kind of a difference, or you will not be able to identify the difference between the EMP data and EMP data 1, first of all. But yes, if you have created the reference, then easily you can find it. How? The first thing, if I select the source table EMP data, in the applied steps, you will be able to see all the steps which you have applied. But in EMP data reference, you will not be able to see the other steps which you have applied. Only the source you will be able to see. First thing. Second, in this EMP data, in the source, you are able to see this gear icon or a setting icon in the source, and you can make any kind of a changes over here. If you want to add the record, you want to delete the record, you want to update the record, you can see, you are able to see the gear icon. But in this EMP data reference, in the source, you will not be able to see that gear icon. Okay. And the third thing, in this EMP data, you are able to see the query which is written over here, table.transform, but in the reference, you will be able to see the query name over here. Like here, you can see equals to EMP data. Equals to EMP data means whatever the data we have into this EMP data query, so that data I just need to reflect into this query. Now, for example, if you want to convert into this order, so here you can change it also. Like here, I say the orders over here, correct? Now you can see, if I press the enter, you can see the order. Now this EMP data ref is connected with my orders now, correct? Again, if I just want to connect with this EMP data, I can write it over here like the EMP data. If I press the enter, you can see now this is connected through this EMP data now. So in that case, you can use this EMP data reference. Is it clear, everyone?
So what's the difference between, why are we using two different methods?
Okay, so look here. Now suppose if you have any of the data set, and now look, if you have if you think so that if I'm just going to make any kind of a changes into my source data, then if anything will happen, okay, so I just need to go for the undo option then. And now if suppose I just want to show to the client, then this is my original data set, and now this is something where I have just performed some kind of a transformation for. So for that, you can create one copy of that. But now if you think so that all the steps which I have applied into my transformation, all those steps I do not want to show during my UAT call or during the demonstration. So what I can do, I can simply create a reference over here. So in that case, what will happen? If anything, I will make the changes into my raw data. So in the reference, you are able to see that. Right? So like, for example, in this EMP data, I have performed the 10 different steps to refine my data or prepare the data for the visualization. But those 10 steps, I do not want to show to the client that what exactly I have done. So in that case, I have created the reference table over here where the client will be able to see only these in the applied steps, only the source, but the client will not be able to see the rest of the steps which I have applied into my EMP data.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now here we have this choose column. In this manage column, you have a choose column and remove column. So now let's discuss about this choose column first. So what is the mean by this choose column? Okay. And before this coming on this choose column, one more thing I just want to highlight it over here. For an example, this EMP data one, which I have created using this EMP data as a copy. And now if I want to delete this EMP data, so what I will do? EMP data one, I want to delete, then what I will do? I will select this one. I will click on manage. I will click on a delete. Once you will click on a delete, it will ask for the confirmation, and you can see the delete option here. You can click on a delete. Now you can see this is deleted over here. Now, if I want to delete this reference from here, or if I want to delete this EMP data first. Now, if you try to delete this EMP data by doing the right click or by clicking on this manage, if you want to click, so you can see, look, the query EMP data cannot be deleted because it is being referenced by another query, which is EMP data ref. It means if you want to delete this EMP data, then you have to break the relation or the reference between the EMP data and EMP data ref, right? Because EMP data ref is directly connected to which table? EMP data. And now this EMP data, you are trying to delete this one. So you cannot delete this one until this EMP data ref source is not changed. Okay, you will not be able to delete this one. Now, if I convert into this country data, enter, now I'm able to see the country data. And now if I delete this EMP data, doing the right click or manage, now I'm able to see the delete option and easily I can delete this one, right? Now, this time I cannot delete the country data. Why? Because this EMP data ref is connected with my country data, correct? If you do so, you will not be able to do that, you can say, correct? But this reference table, you can delete it. If you do the right click, click on a delete, you are able to delete this one. So all those three options which I have shown to you in this manage, that is a delete, duplicate, and the reference, which you are able to see. You are also able to see if you do the right click on your queries, you can see the delete, you can see the duplicate, you can see the reference over here. So you can also perform it from here also. And now here you can see the advanced editor and the properties. You can also perform it from here, which I have shown to you, the properties and advanced editor. Okay, this one. Now here, the next one is basically the choose column. So if you click on a choose column, so you will be able to see the two things, that is a choose columns and go to columns. So what is mean by the choose column and what is mean by the go to column? So the go to column means that if you have the large data set, okay, now here in this case, I have a 24 column data set. And now if I want to move into a particular column, like for example, I just want to go into sales column. So what you will do, you will go like this way, the one by one, like this, and here you can see the sales, right? But now suppose I do not want to go through this scroller, that is a one by one. Directly I want to jump on any of the column. So what I will do, I will click on this choose column and then I will click on this go to column. Once you will click on this go to column, you will be able to see all the headers over here which are into your data set. And now you can select the column on which you have to jump directly, like I have selected the sales. And once I will click on a OK, so now you can see directly I jumped on this sales column over here. Now, if I just want to come on my first column, which is the row ID column, I will click on this go to column. I will click on this row ID and select this row ID. And now I will click on OK. So now you can see I am on the row ID column. So in any of the column, if you want to jump directly, so you can click on this go to column and you can select your column and click on a OK. So directly you will jump on that particular column. Or you can type the column name over here if you have a large data set. For example, on the profit column, I want to jump. So I can write the profit over here like this. So you can see profit. So I will select this profit. I will click on a OK. So you can see on the profit column, I am jumped now. Okay. So in any of the column, if you want to jump directly, so you can use this go to column activities. At a one time, obviously, at a one time on the one column you want to jump. So only here you will be able to see that you are able to select only the one column at a one time. Okay. But now suppose the data set which I have imported, which is nothing but my orders data set. And in this orders data set, I am able to see all the columns which I have. Okay. But now all the columns are not required to me. Okay. All the columns are not required to me, or all the columns I do not want to show into my Power BI desktop. So what I will do, I will keep my selected columns. Okay. So if you want to keep the selected column from your data set, then go into choose column and click on this choose column then. Once you will click on a choose column, so here you are able to see all the columns which you have, and you are able to see the checkboxes over here, right? So in this moment, all the columns are checked. So you are able to see all the data. But now suppose I say all the columns I do not want to keep. I want to keep my limited column or the selected column over here. Okay. Like for an example, I have unchecked this selected all column. I just want to keep the customer name, segment, state, and sales. Suppose these 4 columns I just want to keep only. So once you will click on a OK, so now you can see you are able to see those 4 columns over here. And if you observe, one steps has been added as a remove other columns, right? So this step has been added now. Now, if you want to delete this step, so Control Z will not work over here, right? The Control Z undo will not work over here, that you are pressing the Control Z from your keyboard. So that will not work. So how you will make this undo? So in this applied step, if you want to delete any steps like this remove other column, I do not want to use it. I just want to change it. So I will click on this cross sign, which is before this remove other column. And now that steps will get deleted and you will jump on this your previous steps then. Okay. Now for an example, if I just want to keep those columns, if I click on choose column, then I just want to keep customer ID. I say the customer name, segment, and sales. Now if I click on a OK, so now you can see those 4 columns has been added successfully. Okay. Now, if I just want to show this one, okay. So as of now, you can see the transformation steps I have not saved. So I'm able to see all the columns over here, right? Now I'm just gonna save this one. So click on apply. Once you will click on apply, so here you can see the country data and the orders data is loading into your data model. So now you can see it is loaded. And now if you'll go into your Power BI desktop, so under this order, you will be able to see only these 4 headers and the country data, whatever you have, this one, you will be able to see that. So now if I go into my Power BI desktop, so under these orders, you are able to see the customer ID, customer name, sales, and segment, whatever the columns I have selected. And in this country, I'm able to see the country and sales. So if you go into data section in the orders, you are able to see those 4 columns which I have selected, right? And it's country data, that country data which I have kept it. Correct. Now, suppose if you just want to rename these steps. Okay. For example, here the applied steps has been added with the name as a remove other columns. Okay. Now, suppose for the future reference, I just want to keep the name as a meaningful name. So if in the future, if I see this applied steps, so at least I will recall the things that what activity or the transformation I have performed using this remove other columns. Okay. So now, for example, here I just want to rename as a keep selected column. Okay. Now, so what I will do, if you want to remove, if you want to rename any of these steps, so just do the right click and here you can see the rename option over here. Correct. So click on this rename and you can see now it is into the edit mode. And here I say keep selected columns. Okay. Now, if I press the enter, now you can see it is renamed now as a keep selected column. Okay. Now I say, suppose your client says, please add the region also. Okay. So what you can do here, you are able to see this gear button icon, right? So once you click on this gear icon, you are able to see this choose column. And now you can click on this region and you can click on a OK. So you can see the region is also added over here, right? This one. Okay. We have also one more way. So how you can go for the other way also, let me show you. Now you can see if I just want to add the region, so I can also type it over here, right? Now here, if you are adding from here through the gear icon, if I have selected the region, so the region is basically the before the sales. So now it will add into the same sequence. The customer ID is coming the first, then customer name, segment, then region. So region will add before the sales. If I click on OK, you can see the region is added before the sales. Now, if I say, I just want to keep the sales first and after that the region. So what you will do? You will hold the sales column and you will drag it over here. And now you can see one more steps will be added as a reorders column. Correct? So rather than go for this activity, if you think so that you have to drag the column, but you want to keep the sequencing as per your requirement. Okay. So you can also keep it like this. Here the sales was coming. After that, after the sales, put the comma in double quotes, whatever the column name you want to keep, you can keep it. I say the region. Okay. And remember, Power Query is a case sensitive query. Okay. If I press the enter, you can see the region is added at the last. Correct. Now, if I type the region, R is into the small, but in my data set, R was into the caps. Now, if I press the enter, you can see the error has been generated. The column region of the table wasn't found. It means in my table, this name is not there. So Power Query is basically the case sensitive query. So you have to write the query header or the query into the same case which you have into your source data. So here I will write the region as a R into the caps, the same as well. And if you press the enter, now you are able to see the data. Okay. And you can change the position. Now, if I say region, I just want to add before the sales. So what I will do, I will directly cut it from here. Then I will paste it over here, a comma. And now if I press the enter, you can see the region has been shown over here now. Correct. So now this is basically the concept that how you can keep your selected columns over here then. Is it clear now, everyone? Anyone has any doubt into this choose column? Okay, fine. Now here, the another way, I'm just gonna make this steps undo. Okay, I have clicked on this. Now it is removed. Now here you can see the second one is remove column. So in this remove column, you are able to see the remove column and remove other columns. So the remove column means the column which you have selected. So those columns I just want to remove. For example, this row ID column I just want to remove. So I have selected this row ID. Click on remove column. Once you will click on remove column, the row ID column has been deleted from here and you can see the remove column from here. Correct. Now, if you make this undo, so now you can see the row ID column is back now. Now you want to delete, suppose the row ID, order date, ship date, and customer ID. So what you will do, you have selected this row ID, hold the control key and select the column from the top for which you want to delete, like this, this, and this. Suppose these 4 columns I have selected. Now these 4 columns I just want to delete. So I will click on this remove and remove columns. Once you will click on remove column, so those 4 columns has been removed and you can see in the applied steps that remove columns steps has been added and where you will be able to see the column name which you have removed, right? The row ID, order date, ship date, and the customer ID, these 4 columns you have removed it from here. Correct? Or you can also perform into the same way or in other way, I would say, like I have selected suppose these columns which I just want to delete and now I can do the right click also and here I am able to see the remove columns. Once I will click on the remove columns, the same steps will also get generated. Okay, so either you can go into remove columns, you can click on remove columns, or you can do the right click on the column and you will also be able to see that remove columns. Okay. I hope this is clear, right? Okay. Now, suppose if I just want to keep this selected column and rest of the unselected column, I just want to delete. Okay. So for example, this customer name I want to keep, segment I want to keep, then I want to keep the market, then I want to keep the sales and quantity. Okay. Now, so all these column I have selected by holding the control key, and rest of the column which is unselected, I just want to delete that. Okay. So what I will do, I will click on remove other column. Remove other column means the column which I have not selected, those columns I just want to delete. So I will click on remove other columns. So here you are able to see that all the rest of the columns has been deleted, and now these columns has been kept. Which one? Customer name, segment, market, sales, and quantity. Correct? So these columns are captured now over here. Correct? This one. Now the same thing, this is which you just want to keep it, like I say, the customer name, the segment, then the country I just want to keep, then the sales and quantity. Now, these selected column you want to keep, you can keep either on this remove other column, or in any of the selected column, you can do the right click and you can see the remove other columns option here also. If you click on remove other columns, you can see the same activity has been performed and your selected columns are in the window itself. Correct? Rest other has been deleted now. Okay. So you can see it is saying as a table select column. Okay. I'm copying this query, pasting into this notepad. Okay. So this is something which I have performed by using remove other columns. Okay. Now here I just want to keep these columns. Okay. So now you can see I just want to keep, for example, these columns only. I'm going to choose column. I just want to keep those columns, like I say, the customer name, then the segment, then the country, then the sales and quantity. If I click on a OK, you can see, look, this is which I have performed using this choose column, right? And now if I just copy this query here, you can see the query is completely same if you observe. Right? Below query, I have performed by using the choose columns. So you can see either you perform this remove other columns or you perform the choose column. Remove other columns means the column which I have selected, I just want to keep that column. Or the same thing you can perform by using the choose column also. Okay, so this can be asked into the interview as well, that if you perform anything using the remove other columns or if you perform by using the choose columns as well, both are going to generate the same steps or the same query. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Because the query is one of the most important thing into this one. Okay, the transformation steps or you can say the Power Query Editor is basically the heart of this Power BI desktop. Okay. Now, the next one we have, I'm just gonna undo this step. Now, the next we have this keep rows. So keep rows is basically if you want to keep the selected rows or the top rows or the bottom rows or a range rows, so you can go for this keep rows. Okay, like I just want to keep top 5 rows. So click on this keep top rows. I want to keep the top 5. So the number of rows which you just want to keep, the 5. Okay, so you can see the 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. The fifth ID is which one? 4, 7, 2, 2, 1. So till here you will get the record. Now if I click on a OK, you can see 4, 7, 2, 2, 1, right? And here you can see the kept first rows has been added now. Correct. Now if I say I want to keep the first 3 rows, so what you will do? I have removed that steps. I will click over here again, keep top rows, and I say this 7. Click on OK. 7 steps has top 7 rows you are able to see. Here you can see the gear icon over here, right? If you double click on this, you can see again this pop-up will come and you can change the number of rows which you want to keep. I say the 10 this time. Click on OK. You can see the 10. Or you can see this gear icon. If you click on a gear icon, same wizard you will come. And now you can see the top 15. You can see the top 15. Okay. Now you can also change from this formula bar also. You can see this time it is showing as a 15, right? So 15, in place of 15, I just want to mention as a 7. And now once you will press the enter, now you can see the top 7. So this is basically the query that in my selected table, the first 10 means the top n. Okay. I just want to perform by using this which steps, the change type steps. It means from the previous steps, whatever the table is getting generated from this table, I just want to keep the top 7 records. So this hash change type is nothing, but this is showing the step name of your previous steps. So through this one, whatever the table has been generated, so from that table, I just want to keep the top 7 records. If you will rename this step, suppose this change type, I have converted into change type 1 and I have pressed the enter. If I go here, can you see the change type 1 has been captured automatically? You can see the change type 1. Right now, if I rename this again as a change type and press enter, now in the kept rows, you can see it is converted into change type now. So this is nothing but name of your previous step. So every current steps always perform on your previous steps generated output. So if you see, go into change type. So can you see the promoted headers has been used? What is the promoted headers? Nothing but your previous step name. It means whatever the output is generated into my previous steps, which is nothing but the known as a promoted header. So whatever the output is coming through this promoted headers, now using that, I just want to change the column data type. Correct? So every applied steps work on your previous steps. Is it clear? Okay. Fine. Okay. So now you can see this one. So this is basically the kept first rows. Okay. Now the same as well, if you just want to go for the bottom rows, you can go for the bottom rows like bottom 5, bottom 10. Range of the rows if you want to keep. So range of the rows, like for an example, I say, I just want to start from the row number 2 and I just want to keep the 5 records, or I just want to start from any of the rows and I just want to keep the number of rows. Like here, keep range rows. You can see the first row and the number of rows. First row is basically from where I want to start. I say I want to start from the 2. It means it will start from the 2, 6, 3, 4, 1. Okay, the first 3, 2, 2, 9, 8 it will not consider. So 2, 6, 3, 4, 1 will consider as my first row. And from here, I just want to generate the 3 number of rows, right? So if I will click on a OK, you can see. Look. Correct? So now you can see. So I have given the second row, the starting, and 3 records I just want to keep. So one is 2, 6, 3, 4, 1. Second is 2, 5, 3, 3, 0. Third is 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. If you go over here, you are able to see. Look. Correct? So this is nothing, but this is basically the row which I just want to keep it over here. Correct? So now if you click on OK, now you are able to see it over here, the first row and the number of rows over here. Okay, so this is basically the range over here. Now, same here, if you have any duplicate records, if you want to keep any duplicate records, you can click on duplicate. So you can see keep rows containing duplicated values in the currently selected column. So if in this column, if any record has been duplicate, if you want to select the duplicate only, you can go for the duplicate. If you have imported the data and if any errors gets generated and you want to keep only the error data, okay, so you can go for this keep error. So as of now, we do not have any error. So if I will click on this one, I will not be able to see anything over here because we do not have any error as of now. You can see the table is empty. Okay, but if you will have any error into that column, so it is going to select that line item. Same, remove rows. Like here, the keep rows, and same here, we have the remove rows. So remove top rows, like if you just want to remove the top 5 rows, the top 6 rows, top 10 rows. So in that case, you can go for. So this is something activity which we can use. For example, if you have imported the data and the first two lines are blank, or which is not related to your data set which is required to prepare your visualization. For example, the data headers are getting started from the row number 5, and above that the information which is written, like for example, when the data is imported, the table name or something like that. Okay, it means from the row number 1 to row number 4 is completely irrelevant for you, and from the row number 5 your headers are getting started. So what you can do, you can select that remove top rows, and you can provide the number of rows which you just want to delete. Like the top 4 rows I just want to delete, I will click on remove top rows, and here I will give the 4, and now if I will click on OK, so top 4 rows will be deleted from here. Okay, so if you want to remove any rows, then you can go for this remove rows concept. So same, remove rows, bottom rows, alternate rows. If you want to delete, if you click on alternate, so the first row to remove, the number of rows to remove, and number of rows to keep. Okay, so in that pattern you can provide the values also. And here same, if you want to remove the duplicate values, remove the blank rows, remove the errors, so in that case you can use this one. Okay, now here we have the data sorting. So data sorting is same like in the Excel, you have performed ascending to descending and descending to ascending. Same data sorting you can perform it over here, like A to Z you can see ascending order, and here you can see descending order, right? Or if you go here, if you click on this header column, okay, here on this filter button, you are able to see the ascending and descending over here also. You can see, right? You can perform it from here also. Okay, or you can select any of the column for which you have to perform. You can select that column and you can click here ascending or descending. You can perform it over here also. Okay, this one. So this is also you can perform it over here. Okay. Now here, now the things come. For example, if I say from this data set, I just want to keep the top 3 records for my sales. It means on the first row, the first record should come for which the sales is highest, then the second sales, then the third sales. It means the top 3 sales records should be reflect only. So in that case, can anyone tell that what kind of steps you will perform it over here? Anyone? My requirement is I just want to keep the top 3 sales record.
Maybe can sort the first.
Okay.
Top 3.
Okay. Only.
And then
yeah, go ahead.
Then remove the other rows.
Okay. So if you will go for the remove other rows, so you will remove the number of rows. So here, what you can do, the first step which you have said, like here, I just want to go for descending order, right? So in the sales, if you have clicked on descending, so on the first, the highest sales will come, you can see, then the second highest sales and the third highest sales, right? Till here, the things are clear. Now, what you have to do for the first 3 records, only the first 3 rows should be here. Yes or no? Correct? So you can go for this keep top rows, and here you can give the 3. And once you will click on OK, now you can see it is going to show only the top 3 records over here. You can see, right? So this is also the way, if the requirement from the client has been given, then every time we have to show the top 3 performer on the basis of sales. So this is something you can approach into your requirement. Okay. And always remember, whenever you are going to refresh the data, so at the back end, whatever the steps have been shown over here or are captured over here, all the steps are going to refresh at the back end. Okay. For an example, the same thing which you have added over here. Okay. The sales for, let me show you. I'm just going to create one data into this Excel. and I say this is country data. Okay. Now I have opened that, and now here I'm just giving the country name. Okay. And here I'm just giving the sales figure. Okay. Now drag this. Okay. So I have this data set as of now. Okay. I'm just going to save this. Control S. I have saved. Click on a close. Now I'm just going to import this data first of all. Okay. So I will click on new, click on Excel. Now this country data I'm going to import. Now I have selected this sheet 1, click on OK. Now this is imported successfully, right? Now here in this sheet 1, I just want to perform what? The top 3 sales. Okay. What you will do? You will select the sales. You will go for the descending. Then you will go for the keep top rows and click on a keep top rows. And here the top 3. So in this moment, the top 3s are basically the Singapore, United Kingdom, and the Brazil, right? Go into your Excel file and see. If I go into my Excel file, and here, if I go for the top 3, you can go for the sorting, or the top 3 values you can select from here, right? These top 3. If I select, you can see the Singapore, United Kingdom, and the Brazil, right? Which are shown over here, Singapore, United Kingdom, and Brazil. Now, if I make any changes over here, like India, I have made as a 1000 over here. Okay. So now this time, what will be my top 3 countries? If I go for India, will come on the top. Yes or no? Right. So if I select the top 3 this time, so it means my top 3 will be these 3. India, Singapore, and United Kingdom, right? These 3 should come, right? Or if you make any changes into that, for example, suppose if I say 990, okay, and I say the 910, correct? Now, if I go for the top 3 in the filter, I have selected this one, 949, 990, this one, right? So India, Singapore, and Australia, these should come. Okay, I have saved these changes, close this. And now once I will refresh this one, so you can see if I have refreshed, can you see India, Australia, and Singapore is coming now? Look, yes or no? Correct. So whenever you make any kind of a changes into your data set, and if you refresh, so all the steps are going to refresh at the back end. Okay, always remember. So if you will make any changes into your data set, and once you will click on a refresh, so each and every steps related to that queries are going to refresh at the back end. Is it clear to everyone? Because this is the most important thing. You must know that how the things work into this Power Query Editor window. Okay. Now key first rows, you want to rename this. I can rename. I say top 3 sales. Okay. You can see I have renamed like this, top 3 sales. Okay. This one. Okay. Now if I click on apply, I will be able to see it over there. Okay, so now you can see it is loading. Now this is done. If you want to keep this close, you can close this wizard. And now into your Power BI desktop, you will be able to see the sheet 1 also. Okay, now suppose I have created the graph over here. And now this is my top 3 sales, which I have just created. Okay, so you are able to see the top 3 sales data over here. Correct. Now, if I here as of now, let me make some kind of a formatting here, first of all. So in the x-axis, the title I do not want to show. And here, I just want to keep the sizes of 15 and the bold. Then same, go into this y-axis. Title, I do not want to show, want to increase the size of the values, like 15, want to make it as a bold. And also, I just want to show the data labels. So make this data labels as a turn on, scroll it down, go into values and increase the size. Like I said, the 12 or 15, and suppose this is also bold. So as of now, you can see this is my top 3 sales. Okay. On the header, I can also rename this is my top 3 sales. Top 3 sales country. Okay, this one. Now the header I just want to keep as a 20. I want to keep bold and I can change the font. Okay. Now this is my top 3 sales. Okay. Now suppose if I may open my data set, and now if I change, for example, I say this is Singapore is 2000. Okay. Singapore is 2000. Sri Lanka is 3000. And the United Kingdom is 4000 now. And if I save this and now close this one, so now as of now, you will not be able to see those changes here. Now, once you will click on the refresh from here, you can see, once you will click on refresh, so you can see all the data sets, order, country, and sheet 1 are going to refresh at the back end. You can see. Once you will click on the refresh, you can see it is done. And now you will be able to see the changes over here. Now you can see it is working on it, and you can see, look, United Kingdom is on the top, then the Sri Lanka, then the Singapore, right? Now, if I again open this and make the changes over here, right? I say the India is 5000 now. Okay. Then the Sydney is 4300. And the United States is 2500. Okay, something like this. I have saved this one. Okay, I'm just going to close this one. Now, once you will click on the refresh over here, then all the data sets are going to refresh, and it will take a little time as per your data sets, right? But did I make any changes into my country data or in order data? No. Correct? In which data set I have made the changes? For the sheet 1 only. Correct? So if you want to refresh a specific data set over here, so if you hover the cursor on any of the data set, on the right hand side, you will be able to see the ellipses, which is nothing but the 3 dots you are able to see, which is nothing but as a more options you are able to see. Once you will click on the more options, then you are able to see this refresh data. So once you will click on this refresh data, then only that data set is going to get refreshed. Once I will click on refresh data, only the sheet 1 is going to get refreshed. You can see, and the changes you are able to see it over here now. It is working on it, and now you can see this is done. The first is India, the second is Sydney, and the third is United Kingdom over here. Correct? So if you want to refresh all the data sets which is reflecting on the right hand side, then you can click on this refresh. So all the data sets are going to get refreshed. But if you want to refresh any of these specific data set, then you can hover the cursor and you will be able to see the ellipses, that is the 3 dots, and click on this one and click on refresh the data. Simple. Okay, so only that particular data set is going to get refreshed. Okay, is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, super.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so like here for the top 3 you have created, and now the same for the bottom 3. Suppose the client had says that for the bottom 3 I just want to create also. Okay, so what you can do in that moment? So if I go here in the transform editor, and now you can see I have this data set. Now I cannot use this top 3 sales over here, right? This is something I cannot use. Why? Because the top 3 is showing over here. So if I just want to use the data, then first of all, I have to come it over here. Then I have to change the steps, right? So now what I just need to do it over here then. Okay. So in that case, what you can do is over here. Now here, either you can create a copy of this one, right? You can create a copy of this one and you can use that. So that was basically the use of this duplicate. Okay. So now if I go for this duplicate, click on a duplicate, one more copy is created, which is also connected with the same file. Okay. Always remember. So this is also connected. So let me, I'm just gonna rename as a sheet 1.1. Okay. Dot is not used. Okay. So here I say the sheet 1.
Sir, can you use here, sir, reference tabletop?
No. Reference we should not use. Why? Because one is something I want to use for the top 3. Second is something I just want to go for the bottom 3. Na?
But sir, sometimes suppose that in sheet 1, if some data will be updated, like today's less amount sales in India, or if you change some data according to less amount, sir.
So here it will also change, na? Because this copy sheet is also connected with the same file.
But sir, in duplicate data, sir, if we change some data sources, but the duplicate data will not changes, sir.
No, why it would not change? Here in this sheet 1 is connected with my this file. Yes or no?
Yes,
if
sir.
I will make any changes, so sheet 1 will get refreshed, correct?
Sir.
If I'm selecting this copy file also, so can you see this is also connected with that file? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So if you'll make any changes into this file, so once you will click on refresh, so sheet 1 and sheet copy will automatically get refreshed. Got the point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now here we have to go for the bottom 3. So these steps, first of all, we will remove. And now here from the change tab, I will select this column and now I will go for the ascending order. Right now, I want to keep the top 3 record, which are the bottom 3. Again, I will go for the keep top rows. And here I will say the 3, which are nothing but bottom rows, right? So rename this and I say bottom 3 sales. Okay. Enter. Now this is done. I'm just gonna click on close and apply. You will be able to see the same. Okay. Sheet 1 copy you will be able to see. Okay. Now this is done. I'm just gonna copy this visualization, drag it over here. And now from here, I'm just gonna uncheck this and I'm just gonna select the country and sales. You are able to see the bottom 3. So just rename this from top to bottom. Okay. Now this is created, top and bottom is created. If you want to keep the rounded corners over here, you can also keep the rounded corners. Okay. So go into effect, visual border turn on, and you can give the rounded pixel over here, like 11 I have given, and same here, the 11 I'm just gonna give. Okay. Now you can see this is done. Now this is my visualization, correct? Now I will just make the changes into my data now. Okay. I'm just gonna copy, just gonna open this, and now here I'm just gonna make the changes over here. Okay. So as of now, you are able to see this is basically the things, right? The top 3 sales country and bottom 3 sales country. Top 3 India, Sydney, United Kingdom, Hong Kong, Kenya, China, bottom 3. I'm just gonna make the changes into my data. Okay. Now I'm gonna use this rand between function 1000 to 9800, right? You can see the top and bottom has been changed now. I have saved this file and now I'm just gonna refresh. So once I will click on this refresh, then all the data sets are going to refresh. Sheet 1, sheet copy, everything. Now you can see if I click on a refresh, so you will be able to see your top and bottom, everything is going to get changed as per your new data set. Okay. Now you will be able to see, you can see it is changed now. Are you able to see the changes? Correct. This is changed now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now you can see, so this is basically the way that how you work on the basis of your requirement and in which way you can go for this duplicate code. Okay. Fine. Great. Okay. So now if I again go into this transform data, so you will be able to see this one. Okay. The queries and the data, each and everything, right? Now we have more features, that is a split column, the group by, and so on and so forth. So which we will just cover into our next session then. Okay. So till here, anyone has any doubt what we have covered today? If you want to ask any queries on this one, so I can answer your queries. Till here, what till today, what we have covered? Okay. If no one has, yeah, please go.
Yes, sir. Suppose that we have only year data like 2011, 2020, like that. Okay, sir. Month name and the date name is not given. Suppose if only year is given, can we extract the month name from the year only, sir?
How you can extract?
Yes, because that question will be asked in PwC, sir.
If the year is given only.
Yes, sir.
No. Buddy, if the year, suppose if I have given you the year 2022, and from this year, if I say I just want to capture the month, right? So how you will be able to capture the month?
Yes, sir. It's not possible, sir.
That is not possible. But yes, it might be they have asked the question that the date is given, and from the date, if you want to extract the month, day, or the year, then yes, that is possible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, great. So tomorrow we will connect at the same time, and this file and the data set which I have shown to you, I'm just gonna share with the team and they will share with you. So just do the practice on that. And if you'll have any questions, so you can ask the question then, and I'm happy to answer your queries.
And hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, can you provide me a domain name, sir, for after creating the report to share that report in Power BI service?
For this one, you can connect with the team, so they will basically answer this query to you for this domain.
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys, then good night. Take care, everyone. Bye.